I'm joined by Dr Tombing, Assistant Professor, National Law University in Judicial Academy, Guwahati, Assam. I'm also joined by Professor Prasenjit Biswas, Professor of Philosophy, Northeastern Hill University, Shillong. And I'm also joined by Colonel Shantikumar Sapam, who also was part of Assam Rifles and soldier of the Indian Army. So first, I'll come to you, Mr. Sapam. You know, when he says that likely the violence on May 3rd was pre-planned, my question is, then what was intelligence doing? He's saying this after more than 120 days, sir. What does this mean? Isn't that an intelligence failure then? If it was pre-planned, then the intelligence should have been there.
Good evening, Kartikeya ji and Brijesh ji.
Good evening.
Exactly
Good evening,
what
sir.
I have been telling from before, that when anything happens like this, of this kind, the intelligence report will have to be always there to the DGP, and he's the head of the police forces over here, and CM, and even in the center also, the intelligence report will be always there. That is why I think, and on third, things of this magnitude happen. It's very surprising to me also, basically.
So very surprising. Mr. Tombing, your opening comments, isn't that an intelligence failure? If it was pre-planned, isn't that an intelligence failure?
I wonder whether it should be called an intelligence failure because a CM cannot be so misinformed and uninformed, and that's why it's very hard to believe that there was lapse of intelligence. But what can be more agreeable is that maybe this is an afterthought, and then as the violence has went on for so many days, and then maybe some senses have now prevailed in the sense that the mayhem that has happened, the scale of destruction it has made, and then the type of magnitude of financial assistance it's required from the central government. Maybe this is maybe in a way trying to recourse how things have gone out of control. So thereby maybe the simplest and easiest way is to say that there is maybe a pre-planned attack, and indirectly thereby reflecting that there was an intelligence failure. Thank you.
So, Chief Minister also said that he will provide security to the MLAs of Kuki-Zo community. Do you think that they're going to attend the session on 29th? Is it a possibility on this promise of security?
This promise of security, again, it could be empty promise again. So you never know, because...
Why do you call it an empty promise, sir?
Because it may be... he might mean it, but then the scenario is such that when the paramilitary forces cannot also ensure security and safety, and then even movement of essential items and also life-saving medicines from Imphal to Churchandpur, how can we imagine that the security would be what do you call how do you put it? Will be foolproof. Foolproof.
So, are you saying that the present government is incapable of giving security to Kuki MLAs?
I do not say that. What I'm saying is there are many dynamics of the society which makes it very difficult for any kind of a movement from Imphal to Churchandpur and from Imphal to Kangpokpi also. So even if in the presence of so many paramilitary forces, if movement is not possible, then suddenly, because security is being discussed, can it be assured that it shall be a foolproof security? This is a big question. It's a tactical question also. It's a very big query.
Welcome, Professor. How are you, Professor Prasenjit? You know, there are two things. You know, there are a number of things he said in the interview. The first thing, Dr. Biren Singh to a national daily said, well, it seems like that the events of the violence of May 3rd were pre-planned. And second thing he said, I was compelled to start the war on drugs. I'll come to the war on drugs later because it begets two questions. Why is he saying this after so many days that it's likely that it was pre-planned? If it was pre-planned, then what was the intelligence doing?
Yes, I mean, it's not a question of right now.
And what does it mean when he says it was pre-planned? What does it presuppose when you use the word pre-planned?
Now, actually, one has to find out who planned it before it happened, you know. And that will involve a large number of actors. The government of Manipur is not even able to manage the FIRs, and they are not able to say concretely what action followed on the FIRs that were filed, especially in the cases of sexual violence, how many people are violated and how these victims are treated at this moment, whether any reparation, rehabilitation had happened to the victims or not, is still not known. So putting everything as pre-planned is probably not the right answer, because pre-planning is still to be decoded, it's still to be understood. And if Manipur government has all the information, critical information apart, information that are of general interest can be shared with the public to return back to a situation of credibility. It's a great credibility crisis in which the government is suffering from, because whatever is being claimed in an interview and whatever is spoken of has to be reflected on the ground. And what is reflected on the ground still shows that uncertainties are still prevailing. Still we are witnessing arson. Still we are seeing that in a very sophisticated manner, the house of an ex-MP gets burned. I'm not blaming anyone, but I'm simply looking at it, how it is fleshing out. We still see a lot of insecurity on the ground. So if everything is pre-planned, is it something like God's hand? Or it is orchestrated? They are concrete actors. And then the other question about war on drugs or illegal immigrants, one has to note that the Myanmar's junta is bombing in Chin province and in Sagaing province, adjacent and close to Manipur border. From one of the places where bombing happened last week, 700 of the people had to find shelter in Manipur. Now, why Myanmar's junta is bombing in the areas adjacent to Manipur? Now, you see, there are these larger geopolitical issues as well. And as much as I understand, the question of narcotic, the question of drug, and the other menaces actually goes in a long nexus. We have heard about Brinda's story, IPS officer Brinda, what she has told. We have seen a large number of edicts from where they come. So can that be fixed on a community? So this kind of a blame game takes us nowhere, nor it absolves anybody who is at the helm of affairs. So therefore, one has to be accountable. How we return to accountability, how we return to credibility, how we return to a kind of a concrete understanding of facts and the way things are happening in an undesirable manner in terms of loot, arson, repeated acts of violence and retaliation. One has to understand that if we are able to grasp this, then we are able to grasp the Manipur situation. Until and unless we are able to grasp it in totality, we are not able to grasp the situation. That's what I would like to humbly suggest here.